Hello. Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to another live session with the Flow Coaching Institute. Hi, everyone. And today is about introducing the flow coaching process, flow coaching methodology, and hopefully giving you a taste of what flow coaching is about and also what flow is about in general. We will have a conversation about the flow psychology as well. And I have two wonderful guests with me. But before they introduce themselves, for those of you who don't know me, I am Talia Vardar. I am one of the founders of the Flow Coaching Institute, and I'm a master certified coach. And I transitioned into coaching from a corporate marketing. I was an executive once, and switching to coaching was the best career decision of my life. I found my flow. What can I say? So I have Elizabeth and I have Candy with me, two wonderful women with many great qualities. And Candy Ashby has been with Flow for many years right now. And Elizabeth is a Flow coach, and she finished the Flow program. And she is an experienced Flow student coach also, but she's practicing as a coach. So Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself first, and then Candy, you after Elizabeth, please.
Welcome, everybody. It's such an honor to be here with Talia and Candy, both who've been superb teachers of mine. Talia also I worked with on expressive arts coaching, which is what brought me to Flow. I was an expressive arts therapist for many years and an acting coach, and realized that coaching would be the best fit for me. I'm so blessed to find Flow for many reasons that I'll tell you after Candy's lovely introduction. Happy to be with everybody.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We're happy that you're here. And Candy.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words, Elizabeth. I'm happy to be here today. I'm so happy that I found Flow, Flow Coaching Institute, because it was a highlight of a big change in my life. I was working for a strategy company and having a really great conversation with our CEO about where my next move was. And she said to me, "Have you thought about coaching?" And I was like, no, I'm not a coach. And she goes, yes, you are. She goes, in all our meetings, you look for a different perspective, you ask questions curiously. It's just natural. And I actually went home that evening. I was upset, said to my husband, this is the direction I wanted to go in, and this is what she's telling me. And they believe so much in it. She said, find a coaching program, we'll pay for it. So I went through several. Flow really spoke to me, and I it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And it's when I'm now an instructor with Flow as well. And I say to people, I believed in the methodology and the framework, the architecture so much that I became an instructor, kind of like the hair club for men. I believed in it so much, I'm now the president. But I'm now an instructor, and I get to bring that flow and that methodology and that structure to help new coaches find it. And it's so uplifting. So, my background before, I come from a family of entrepreneurs, grew up in that kind of environment. I've worked for larger corporations, some in marketing, some in HR. I was really a generalist until I, as we say, found my flow in coaching.
It's wonderful. Thank you, Candy. Thank you both. And before we start, I will just introduce maybe how this works for those of you who are new to this. So this is streamed on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and Facebook as well. And we received a few questions. We will answer your questions. And if you're watching us right now, just to let you know that we don't see you, but you see us. But we receive your messages. If you type your messages, if you type your questions, our MC will show them to us. And there will be some slides too. We will go through the slides. So we will multitask today. How about that? And hopefully we will engage and we will have so much fun. So thank you for joining us, whomever is there. Thank you for joining us today. Another live session. And engage with us. We love to engage with you. Wonderful. And so I just want to maybe let's start with the slides. Can you bring the slides while we talk? And the MC is there. Is the MC? Yes, thank you. So thank you very much. So before we start, I want everyone to wait because we will have a special offer today. Stay with us until the end to hear about the offer. We really have very good summer offers for you, for those of you who are interested in becoming an ICF certified flow coaches. So just maybe start with some introduction about what flow psychology means, right? And existentially, we all want to experience flow. We come to this world, like if you had the chance to observe any baby, toddlers, like, baby animals, together with trying to survive, there is always this simultaneous desire to experience love, to experience joy, to experience our wholeness, right? We come to this world not being able to do everything, like we don't know how to eat, we don't know how to walk. When we come to this world, we don't know how to speak. So we are, in a sense, we are here to grow and to become whole. And part of that experience is really to strive towards having flow in our lives. So it's an existential need, having flow in our lives. and experiencing flow is an existential need. So, and then why there's so many people in the world, like, you know, there are billions of people in the world, why not everyone is able to experience flow? Can we move on to the next slide, please? There are some barriers, right? Barriers keeping us away from experiencing flow. First, I want to talk about the barriers. Then we will talk about what flow is and how we can increase the flow experience and the methodology, flow coaching methodology. And then we will also answer the questions. So there are 5 barriers in my practice. Not only as a psychologist, but also as a coach, I observed, and Elizabeth and Candy, please join me to share your experiences. So I will simplify those. One is overthinking, for sure, because when we are overthinking, we are not naturally experiencing the present moment, right? We are only experiencing the thoughts in some part of our brain, not even the whole brain system. And overthinking and worrying about some things, maybe worrying about future, worrying about some people, worrying about some events, um, maybe imagining, or maybe worrying about some consequences. Fear of failure is a big one. Fear of change and the uncertainty that will come with it. Thinking, and the fifth one is thinking about the past events and analyzing them over and over. So the mind, the natural state of the mind, according to research, according to neuroscience, is not order, it's chaos. So the mind, just, you know, the mind travels between these 5 things, like fear of failure, because of the survival brain. And the way that the brain is designed, and the brain is part of our mind, unfortunately keeps us away from experiencing flow. And the dilemma is that while we strive to experience more flow, to experience our wholeness, yet the way the brain is designed keeps us away from it unless we make a conscious effort, right? This is what we teach at the Flow Coaching Institute. How do you help yourself, and how do you help others to design their flow experiences in a desired aspect of life? That's what we are teaching. And Candy, you have been with us, you have been teaching, you have been also mentoring with us, and you have been
Yes.
working as a flow coach. What would you like to add to that? And your perspective also.
Absolutely. It's kind of when I look at finding flow and helping people find their flow, and it's really trying to look at things from a different perspective. Um, when we're overthinking, we need to get out of our own way. And you know, what can we do to look at our goals and make them achievable in a sustainable way that we enjoy? Because truthfully, life is a long journey. And if we're just looking at an end goal and stumbling through it, we're missing so much of life. So how can we make this more pleasant? And
That's such a good question, right?
absolutely. And it always brings me back to Mihai Csikszentmihalyi when, we talk about challenge and abilities. And I often ask, my clients to say, are you being challenged just a little bit beyond your abilities? Where can we find this happy medium where there's still the challenge and you're still kind of comfortable to get into your flow. And we look at other aspects of it, like fear of failure. One of my favorite quotes is Nelson Mandela. I never lose. Either I win or I learn.
Mm,
So can we look at failure as learning rather than failure and take that stigma of the shame, regret, all those things that come with failure away? So in finding flow, it's really taking the time to look at things through a different lens, and how can we take what we're going through and make it a more palatable experience without bringing in like toxic positivity. It is what it is, but what can we do to make it 10% better?
that's such a nice question. I agree with you. And what is um, what is the word in English? Like, there's toxic positivity, and in positive psychology, um, we talk about learned optimism, right? So, and it's grounded optimism. We don't just say, like, play like a Pollyanna, but we instead really cultivate and facilitate a process of optimism with a growth mindset, which starts with reframing your experiences, like the quote from Nelson Mandela. I don't fail, I learn. That's such a good, nice reframe, and emphasizing growth mindset. And when you have that mindset, like, oh, what I'm learning here, yes, this is an experience, it's not a pleasant experience, but I'm learning this and this, to turn it, the meaning into, to shift the meaning of the experience into something that is functional, right? That is functional instead of dysfunctional. um, Wonderful. And Elizabeth, do you want to say a few things about this as well? I know you have been working on yourself, working with others, and you have a lot of experience.
I think what you both said is beautiful and speaks exactly to being in the flow, and to know that scientists have discovered that we have two modes of referencing in our brain. One is the experiential and one is the narrative brain. And if one is stuck in the narrative brain or in the past or in worrying about the future, they're not in the now. And so I know from taking the classes that the way they're structured, you are in the now. You are experiencing flow in the now. And I've experienced it with both teachers. And the flow state feels that you're in a state of being unself-conscious. You're feeling a sense of joy, and your level of mastery is meeting the challenge, or like Candy said, a little bit more, so you stretch yourself. And when you're working with someone, there is exactly that aspect there. Um, yes, there's the issue of people being in their overthinking brain, and too much in the past and too much in the future. And the only way you can affect change is being in the now, is being in the present moment. So I could go on, but you're in the best of hands with the two ladies. I'll pop in. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Can we bring the next slide, please? Let's see what we have here. Yes, so about flow coaching, we will get back to the psychology of flow, by the way. We will talk about it more in the coming slides. But let's talk about the foundations of flow coaching. What do we have as the foundations? So there are a few things that, make the flow coaching unique. And one is that we have our foundations, our roots in the principles of positive psychology and the flow model developed by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who was a pioneer positive psychologist. And attitude of the coach, of the flow coach, the approach is client-centered, and the process follows the principles of solution-focused psychology. And on the left, you see Carl Rogers here, and he was a pioneer humanistic psychologist who introduced, indeed, the co-active client-centered approaches. And he said that the relationship itself has a healing power. So we really, as in our methodology, we really care about the relationship between the coach and the coachee, and we teach how to create a working, a functional, and effective and trust-based relationship, how to provide that psychologically safe place and brave place so that the coachee, the clients, can be fully themselves. So we that's very important for us, and that's really an important part of the flow coaching methodology and the approach. And in the background of the tools and techniques that we teach, there is neuroscience and the creative research from the neuroscience. Some of them are taken from expressive art therapy, for example, and we adjusted those techniques into coaching. And creative questions, without the questions, there's no coaching, right? And some of the tools and techniques from behavioral and cognitive science, and also systems approach, which means the change in development of one part of the system puts the whole system in motion. And because we really believe in coaching the whole person, and we will be talking about this in the coming slides. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yes. So what did I just say? We believe that change is sustainable when you coach the whole person. And when you coach the spiritual dimension, the mental dimension, the emotional dimension, and the physical dimension of the person. And with this, I would like to maybe summarize a few of the flow coaching principles that we share with our students, because there's this concept of coaching presence introduced by the International Coaching Federation. Coaching presence is a state of being that we demonstrate as professional coaches, agreed by the International Coaching Federation, that a state of being that facilitates a thought-provoking partnership process to inspire maximization of personal and professional potential. And how do you do it? If you don't have a coaching philosophy, if you don't have a philosophy about human growth, your presence will not be deep. So that's why we have the flow coaching principles, and I will just summarize a few of them. So one that I really like is the integrity of mind, body, and soul is essential. Whatever happens in one area affects the other. So that's system thinking, right? Or our memory and imagination use the same neurological pathways. How cool is that? Right? It's so cool. Hence, the two are also equal in our thought processes. Think about it. It's such a big potential. It's huge capacity, right? Our memory and imagination use the same neurological pathways. Think about the meaning of this for a second, please. It's a technology, and we teach how to use that technology. And we can work another flow coaching principle. We can work with both conscious and unconscious awareness simultaneously and be in touch with both. Think about the meaning of this. It's huge.
Talia,
Yes.
may I speak to that? It is
Yes.
so beautiful as a coach when you ask a question and you see your client pause for a moment and then realize things that come to them from their subconscious that they hadn't thought about before, that brings new light or changes the way they look at a situation or changes um, the way they think they had an ability before, where it strengthens an area. For example, yesterday I had a client say to me that, wow, you're really good at extracting information from me. So that in itself, being able to have someone extract something from their subconscious as a coach is a beautiful movement.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also a good process of creating awareness for the client, right? For the individual themselves, such a valuable experience when they become aware of the things about themselves that they haven't been aware before. So that's when, that's why the first step of the flow coaching methodology starts with evoking awareness, which is also an international coaching federation competency about coaching. And the other one that, maybe, yeah, the whole is the sum of the parts, and the parts are all related to one another. Each part is in the whole, and the whole is in each part. Change in one of the parts affects the whole. And this, another, I will read a last one. There are 15, 16, if 15, yeah, if my memory is correct, principles that we share with our coaches. And this also resonates with so many people. If something is possible in the world, it's possible for me too. The only thing I need to do is to find out how. So this resonates with a lot of people, this principle. Yes, and so it starts with working with the whole person. As a coach, starts with the presence, the coach presence, which is very important and which is so essential for cultivating a trust-based, safe relationship, right? This is how we start. We teach that and we practice that. We give you feedback and we supervise that. We mentor you so that you have that presence. You vibrate and radiate that energy during your sessions with your clients. And let's move to the next slide. Yes. Okay, let's spend some time here, and then maybe after we share what the flow psychology is about and the methodology, maybe we receive some questions also, right? So Candy, you just shared, like gave some hints about the model. Like you talked about challenges, you talked about abilities. What do you want to say about the flow methodology, flow model and the methodology?
So the flow model allows you to create that awareness for your client so they can see and look at different ways that where their abilities are compared to the challenges that they're bringing you. And then we talk about what's their motivation for changing this. Like what's their intrinsic motivation? I always say when I'm teaching the motivational portion, they'll give you one answer. It's easy to say why they want something, but it's important for us as coaches to dig a little deeper and help them understand what the true focus or the true motivation is. A lot of people when I'm career coaching talk about wanting to move their career forward and get a promotion. And when you talk about what's important about getting that promotion, they'll often say, well, there's the financial compensation goes up. And when we talk about what's important about that, we find it goes deeper. It goes into the type of lifestyle they'd like to live, what they can provide for their families, things like that, so that there's greater motivation than just the money. Then once we move from motivation and we start talking about what it would look like to actually have what you want, and then building a plan to getting there, and talking about making those changes in incremental steps so that you're upping your challenge a little bit as you're growing your ability, so you're able to find your flow like it shows in the diagram. And then once we get going into the plan, well, it needs to be sustainable. So we talk about focusing. How are you going to, focus on what you are doing? How are you going to stay accountable? And then what's next? How do we keep this going? What does that look like? What is success? And how is this really landing for you? So we put it in a nice package for our client to be able to see, I'm here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get to my goal, but in between, I'm going to be able to enjoy this as well.
That's wonderful. That's a wonderful summary of how a session goes by, right? How a
Yes.
flow coaching session goes by. Thank you. So, following up on that, on what Candy has shared with us, we provide a structure to make the coach's life easier. A structure almost like a navigation, almost like a GPS, so that when you are coaching, you don't feel lost, you don't get lost, and you have a structure to come back to. Because we ask questions as coaches to help our clients explore further and look at from different perspectives. However, sometimes as you listen, you may not sure which direction to take. You don't, especially in the beginning, you don't know how to navigate what comes next. But when you have the flow structure, you don't have that confusion in the sessions. You have the clarity with that structure. That's why structure is so important and so valuable, and we give you that structure. And maybe Elizabeth, you share your experience, and then maybe we talk about for a bit what is flow state about.
Okay. Well, the flow model is a very elegant, simple, and yet profound model in 5 steps. Awareness, motivation, creative planning, success and completion, and maintaining your goals. And sometimes in a coaching session, you may only get to the first 2 steps, which is perfectly fine. It's supporting the person in finding what is important to them, as Candy spoke to. What is important to the person and why do they want to achieve a certain goal? And I think almost all of us know that even though you may want something very much, there may be resistance, even towards something that is very positive. And so as a coach, you're there to support somebody as they take steps that are realistic and achievable. And even when they are unable to fully execute what they said they would achieve, let's say within a week period, you're celebrating whatever step that they did achieve. And that always feels good. And there's always a sense of accomplishment when you step forward in your life. And if you're to think about in your life when you have experienced flow, whether you're cooking a beautiful dish or, for example, I'm only in the beginning stages, but I've been doing it for many years. I love ballet, and I've been taking ballet 1 for years. And though I could move on to do, I have so much pleasure staying in one because my level of mastery of level one, and yet the challenge is still there for me in order to perfect the movements. And so while I'm in a ballet class, I am completely present. I am in a state of joy almost all the time, but I have to make a complete effort and be completely present with what I'm doing. And I do find that relates to my well-being. I always feel better afterward, and I feel a sense of accomplishment. And it's the same thing when I'm in class. If I were in class with Talia or Candy, the way the class is designed is to put you into a flow state. And yesterday I was working with a lovely young man, and he's been struggling with uh, writing something for some months now. And it's our fourth session, and he's had some breakthroughs, but there's still some resistance. And so, knowing that I'm being of support to him in helping him reach his goals little by little is extremely gratifying and inspiring, and put me into a flow state being with him. So these are just a couple of examples. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So then, Candy, please, always.
Before we go on, I think it's also important for people to realize how the flow methodology also completely encompasses the competencies for ICF
Yeah.
and how, the ethical practice that we teach, how the methodology, includes, the active listening, we evoke awareness, we facilitate growth, we maintain agreement, we have our coaching presence. So the architecture encompasses all of those. And as you're learning around the architecture, the methodology, you're also learning to really hone in on those competencies.
That's so true. Thank you. And the success rate with the exams, the success rate of the flow students with the ICF exams is 100%. That's the
Wow.
level of, yeah, that's the level of accomplishment that our students have after finishing our programs to become professionally certified coaches. Wonderful. Thank you, Candy, for the reminder. It's wonderful. So the flow architecture and the flow, maybe a few last words, and then we will talk about the offer. The architecture and the methodology, the 5-step flow methodology, does two things. There is a function. It's not, a coincidence that they're designed in such a way. One thing is support Candy to make the job of the student coach easier to learn to coach in alignment with the ICF competencies and ethical standards and principles. And the second one is to really help the client, whether the individual client or the organization, corporate client, or a group of people, to reflect on what flow means, and what will success look like when they're in the flow, and then helping them to understand the meaning behind that so that it's wired in the brain. The meaning is really wired so that it becomes a source of sustainable motivation. And then the how part comes. How will you do it? How will you succeed? How will you move towards positive shift? How will you create momentum? How will you create a success plan, and then from there move towards achievement. And then we also teach to remove how to remove distractions, which is very important in today's society, right? How to remove distractions, how to stay focused, so that the person, the coachee or the coachees, are able to discipline their energy and move towards achievement, move towards accomplishment, move towards experiencing more flow in different aspects of love, whether it's a career life, whether it's leadership development, whether it's parental coaching. It can be multiple streams, multiple specialties of coaching, so that the flow experience becomes their daily reality. That's what the methodology does. And with that focus, the clients experience less boredom, less apathy, less anxiety, and less stress. And instead they experience more flow, more productivity, increased focus, and they state that they improve their abilities while improving their capacity to tackle, to cope with higher level of challenges. So they say that they grow. That's the feedback that we receive from our clients. Can we bring the next slide, please? So this is the good news for those of you who have been looking forward to become ICF certified professional flow coaches. We have a great flash sale celebrating the arrival of the summer, right? And really providing big discounts, huge discounts, from $100 discounts for modules 1 to 5 of the CAR Foundations or business coaching, which is part of both level 1 and level 2 certification tracks, up to $1,000 discount, all Canadian dollars, of course, for the level 2 ICF level 2 all-inclusive advanced certification track, which is a unique offer, which is a huge discount, big discount. And if you're looking for, if you're really wanting to become a certified coach, this is a great opportunity. And for those of you who have been inquiring about Expressive Arts coaching, there is a discount for the Expressive Arts coaching too, but this is for a limited time only. That starts on Monday, on June 10, and only ends for 2 weeks, and it ends on June 24. So with that, let's take the first question. Can we bring one of the questions, please? Yes. I wish to know how art therapy integrated in flow coaching methodology. So first of all, let's start with the terminology. So, I'm a therapist and I'm a coach, and there are boundaries. When you're a coach, you don't give therapy. You can have both practices, and we just had, I think 2 weeks ago, we just had a wonderful live session with 2 therapists about how to navigate between therapy and coaching. So what we do is, so when the techniques of expressive therapies, expressive arts therapy, expressive art therapy, or other forms of therapy are adjusted into the flow coaching methodology, they're not therapeutic techniques anymore. They're techniques and tools for coaching. So in the flow coaching methodology, all the tools, even though maybe originally they stemmed from some therapies, but when we teach you, they are strictly coaching tools and techniques. So I want to say this to eliminate any confusion. So boundaries of professional coaching is very clear. And so in the flow coaching methodology, in modules 1 to 5 of the core foundations and the business coaching, we don't teach expressive arts coaching. However, we teach some creative thinking and creative questions and creative tools. But we have a standalone expressive arts coaching program. We teach coaching through the arts. And maybe Elizabeth, would you like to talk about your experience? Because you have a lot of experience with the program, Expressive Arts Coaching Program, and also your coaching through the arts.
Hi, Inandata. Excuse me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. I've taken the Flow Expressive Arts coaching class twice, and it was really extraordinary. And I've also worked with Talia privately using expressive arts coaching. And for example, a question might be, in what way do you want to have more flow in your life? Could be a prompt. And then you have a specific medium. Let's say you're working with crayons or watercolors or clay. Clay was a beautiful thing that we used, very helpful. And you focus on the prompt, on the question, and you have, let's say, 20 minutes or more or less, and you create a piece of art or a drawing connected to that. And that takes you completely out of your narrative brain and into the experiential brain, into the now. And when you're in the now, that's when you have fresh ideas, fresh thoughts, new ways of looking at something, because you're disconnected from your rumination in your brain, which is scientifically proven, has been said. So what Talia is speaking of and that she's created, which is so brilliant, is using the arts and funneling it through the expressive arts 5-star model. I'm not expressing myself perfectly articulately. It's a 5 steps to the flow model. And so you can use any one of those steps and use the arts with it. I have a background in drama therapy, and I was an acting coach for a very long time. So something I may do is I may ask someone to show me in a movement how they're feeling, or how that speaks to the prompt of, let's say, having more flow in their life, which I did just yesterday, and somebody did that. And then I repeated the movement, and then I asked if there was a sound connected, and he went, and then I repeated that back to him. And what that does is it creates mirror neurons and creates more connection between the coach and the client. So that's just 1 or 2 examples. Thank you so much. I hope that answers something for you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. To add maybe further, so in the program, in the Expressive Arts Flow Coaching Program, I teach, and then demonstrate the skills to give the coaches or counselors or facilitators to use arts, whether it's storytelling, whether it's body movement, which is somatic, right? Dance, or visual arts, including acrylic painting, any kind of watercolor, clay, or pastels, crayons, or like chalk pastels, doesn't matter. Earth materials, materials that you collect from nature, and collage and murals and all kinds of like visual arts materials. Poetry is one of the forms that we use. So these are just some examples. So there are a few ways of coaching through the arts. One way is setting up the sessions as expressive arts flow coaching sessions from the beginning, with the agreement. And the second way is just, your agreement with your coachee might be just a regular agreement. Even with executives, I use it. And then when there is an opportunity, you incorporate expressive arts into your sessions. And expressive arts is a good replacement, is a good substitute for verbal coaching. When words are not enough, the experience, the moment, storytelling, visuals, images, colors, forms, they speak for themselves. So it's very powerful. It's really a very powerful experience. I hope this helps Anindata. Thank you. Can we bring maybe the next slide, and then let's do it like slide, because I look at time and we're all talkers. We like to talk. Yes. So for those of you who are not familiar with the ICF certification tracks, the most advanced and the all-inclusive certification track is named as the Level 2 certification. And at Flow Coaching Institute, modules 1 to 6 provides the level 2 certification, the all-inclusive advanced coaching certification. And the level 2 certification takes you not only to ACC credential, but also to PCC credential. And ACC is Associate Certified Coach credential, and PCC is Professional Certified Coach credential with the ICF. These are titles with the International Coaching Federation. And level 2 certification has the core competency training hours, group mentoring and supervision, which is very much fun and useful and valuable. Individual mentoring, also individual mentoring, one-to-one individual mentoring, and oral performance evaluation at the PCC level. And it also encourages and facilitates peer coaching hours and client hours. And at the end, you get a badge as Flow Certified Professional Coach, and you also receive your ICF Level 2 certification. And maybe bring Level 1 as well, and then can you bring the next slide, please? The Level 1 slide. Yes, thank you. And the other ICF certification track is called Level 1 certification track. And Level 1 takes you to ACC credential. And ACC stands for Associate Certified Coach. For those of you who may not remember or who may not be aware. So there are, in the Level 1 certification track, there is modules 1 to 5, plus individual mentoring sessions with our expert mentor faculty, and also oral performance evaluation at the ACC level. And there's peer coaching hours, there's client hours, and of course there's written assessment and so on. So for those of you who are looking for, let's say, becoming executive coaches or want to work with corporations or organizations, I highly recommend the Level 2 certification track, because it takes you all the way to PCC. And for especially if you're looking for working with organizations, executives, PCC is a good standard. And for those of you who are looking for maybe working with individuals, or like, in the life coaching setting, or like career coaches, Level 1 is good enough. However, there is a way also to take a step-by-step approach. If you are not sure where to start from, start with modules 1 to 5, and then take a step-by-step approach. And here, maybe bring the dates, upcoming dates, and then bring the next question, please, simultaneously. Thank you. These are the next program dates. And Can you bring the question as well? I remembered teaching path. Yes, education path for future career for 17 years girl old. So this is such a big question. Okay, where do we start from? Elizabeth, you had some good ideas.
I think it's a wonderful idea. I think if this young lady who's 17 has an idea that she feels coaching could be something that she would like to do, I think this would be a wonderful idea. Why not begin early? Um, it could only add to her even if she decided to do something else, but I think it's a fantastic idea. And you're in wonderful hands. I do want to say that ICF, for those of you who don't know, is the International Coaching Federation, and they're the governing board. And I've tried several different programs, and this one was the finest one. So I think this young lady would be, Yara, you'd be in wonderful hands.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, Candy, I was gonna ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I believe that, coaching is also a really great, if we were to say, a side dish to some other professions. I have we're seeing this really great shift from commanding leadership into coaching leadership in organizations. So this, if you're going to for coaching for a career, it's a very rewarding career. If this is something you want to try, but you have other things you want to try, this is just really like the cherry on top of the sundae. It gives you those tools. I also believe it gives you life skill tools. You learn to listen better. You learn to be more curious and find out more, dig deeper. So I think not only does coaching give you skills to coach, it also opens up a whole new world for you in the way that you interact with others.
Thank you. Thank you, Candy. And I don't know if there are Flow students and graduates listening to us right now, but we introduced this new initiative as Flow Youth Development, and we provide 50% scholarship to young Flow family members between the ages of 17 and 24. And if there are family members of our Flow students and graduates between the ages of 17 and 24 looking for becoming coaches, not only maybe to coach, but also, as to Candy's point, like to learn about these life skills. Coaching skills are very good coping skills, problem solving skills, change management skills, um, disciplining your psychic energy skills, you name them, moving beyond stress, boredom, anxiety skills. Like, really, they're very highly effective interventional skills. So if you're just looking for learning those skills to become happier, to find your flow, to help yourself, to help others maybe in the future. So we're offering 50% scholarship to your family members, young family members. Thank you, Yara, for thinking about your career, really, and really, really reflecting on what is meaningful for you. It's wonderful. Thank you. So, what's next? Let's see what's next. Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And so maybe this special offer is replaced with the summer sale, which is a bigger offer. So can you move to the next slide? because we already shared about, yes, the flash sale offer. So I just want to say for everyone who has been with us, who's listening to us, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about yourself, your life, and others, because being a flow coach means that you are a change agent. We're really working on expanding the flow consciousness, one person at a time, one company at a time, one organization at a time, one team at a time. We really believe that we have a mission. So thank you for being here. And thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you, Candy. And it would be
My
great
pleasure.
if you say a few last words. We have 1 minute left. So
Well,
how
I'll
would you
go
like to
say,
close? How would
I'll,
you like
I'll,
to?
I have to hop off. I have a client at one, but absolutely, flow coaching really, I truly can say changed my life. I believe it brought a brand new self-awareness because as much as you're learning to coach, you're being coached. And finding flow and being able to do that in your life just elevates your happiness. And it's a great place to be.
I agree. I agree. And Elizabeth?
Thank you. It's an honor being here with you two ladies. So brilliant, and lovely to be with everybody. I fully believe in the program. I love it very much, and I wouldn't be here sharing this with you if I didn't believe in it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Candy, for doing the work in the field, right? And helping to expand the flow consciousness. And everyone, see you next time. And have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye for now, wherever
Bye-bye.
you are in the world. Bye.